Hi guys, and welcome to the Lone League Catch-Up. It's myself, Rampant FM, and today I'm joined by Mozza. How are you doing, bud?
I'm really good, mate. How's you?
Good. What have you been up to since you missed the last episode last week?
Yeah, unfortunately, as bad as it sounds, wedding planning took over that weekend. But no, I've been kind of getting stuck into the Football Manager work again in terms of the PC game, for those that don't know. Because this year we'll see the first time that we've got some Lowland League squads in for the first time, even though the leagues aren't playable out of the box as yet. But that's the ultimate aim. So been working away on that, and so by the time this weekend's out, we should hopefully have the database ready to download, and the Lowland League themselves will share it on Twitter and so on, that you can choose your favourite team and get going.
Fantastic work, obviously. I've kind of been helping you out a wee bit with... obviously, on the wiki side, I've also been updating the club's wiki pages, keeping the squads up to date on wiki. Apart from the uni teams, I'm sure there'll be people that can help me out with that as well. So I've got everyone up to date on Transfermarkt, apart from the uni teams and Whitehill and Gretna. But I have been in talks with someone, a gentleman named John McMillan, who's added players that have been missing to the squad. So really, it's pretty good that we're promoting the Lowland League through various sources such as Wikipedia, Transfermarkt, and obviously now FM. It's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Everything all helps when it all gets put together, and it's getting a lot easier for people to find us.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get into the action, Mozza. We did have one Lowland League fixture in amongst all the Scottish Cup ties. It was Dalbeattie Star versus Edinburgh Uni. Obviously a 6-pointer, probably not so much for Edinburgh Uni, but certainly Dalbeattie. I did say last week that they really needed to get a result there, and unfortunately they lost 3-2. Conor Graham and Lewis Sloan with the goals for Dalbeattie, and Aidan Kemp, Sante Kovalainen and Abdel Youssef for Edinburgh Uni. Uni move up to 7th, and Dalbeattie stay in 14th with 8 points. Having played an extra game more than Stirling Uni and Gretna above them. Bit of a tough one for Dalbeattie, mate.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think it really was a 6-pointer. I know Edinburgh Uni are kind of sitting a wee bit ahead just now in terms of points, but that's really helped them. Kind of like, they didn't have the best start in the world, Edinburgh. And they're now in a position where they're looking reasonably comfortable, I think, as we approach the halfway stage. But it's a tough one to take for Dalbeattie, given that Whitehill Welfare still aren't exactly out of reach of them. They're only a couple of results away, and obviously we spoke earlier on about Dean Brotherson disappearing from the Star squad, and they're going to have to find someone to start putting the ball in the net, because if they don't, they could get dragged down into the dogfight.
Definitely. I mean, they are back to scoring after not hitting the net in the last two games. And, it sounded like they had more of a fight against Edinburgh Uni, which is always sort of good, positive. But they have a really hard November coming up. They're home to BSC Glasgow, away to Cumbernauld Colts, and home at University of Stirling. And I just don't know where they're going to get points out of them, because obviously BFC are doing really well. Colts have kind of been slipping down at the moment, but they're still a quality side, and Stirling Uni obviously on a high recently as well. So it's going to be a tough month for them to sort of try and climb out the bottom of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, having said that, when you've got Lewis Sloan there, you've always got a chance. And I know that's putting a lot of pressure on one guy, but he's genuinely a player that I think pretty much every team in this league would love to have in their squad. All it takes is a little bit of improvisation, a little bit of genius, and then we've seen that they've managed to pick up results already. They've managed to go to Kelty and get a result. So you never know. It's a bit of a cliche, but it just depends on what sides turn up at any given weekend or any given midweek, and they might be able to pull something out of the bag.
Well, hopefully, mate. Hopefully, obviously, it's not looking good at the moment, but certainly they've still got a few games to pick it up. Whitehill obviously bottom at the moment, but certainly Dalbeattie wouldn't want to be down there any closer to Whitehill than they already are. So, going into the Scottish Cup, just before we sort of get into the the results and whatnot. I'm quite happy with some of the games. Obviously, there was 4 Lowland League teams went through to the third round, which is, I think, would you say it's an improvement on previous years? Obviously, discounting East Kilbride, who got to the last 16 a few years ago and obviously got put out by Celtic. Majority, from what I've seen, it's usually first round, second round exits, and we've got 4 Lowland League teams through to the third round, and 3 of them first time in their history. So.
Yeah, well that's what I was just going to say there. The fact that you're looking at Gala, Stirling and BSC, who have never got to this point before, that's an obvious improvement. And I think more than just the number of teams getting through, I think some of the performances have been really impressive, even with the teams that never quite made it through the rounds. They're clearly showing that this league is a really competitive league, and there's always going to be a battle when you come up against a Lowland side. So it bodes well for the ties coming up, and the fact, I know we're jumping ahead slightly here, but the fact that Kilby have drawn Gala as well means that we're guaranteed to get a Lowland side through the next round as well.
Yep, agreed, mate. We're going to just sort of go over the Scottish Cup results. All the highlights of all the games can be seen at Scottish Cup Official on YouTube. We'll start with one of the bigger ties, both Lowland League teams, East Kilbride versus Spartans. East Kilbride won 3-1. It was a good start from Spartans, 1-0 after 6 minutes with Adam Corbett opening the scoring. Equaliser from Kilby just before half time with Craig Malcolm. And going into the second half, it looked like East Kilbride really sort of took control of the game. Craig Malcolm again grabbed his second from a close range effort, which was tipped by Blair. It was a free kick. It was tipped by Blair's Carswell. He just couldn't hold the ball, and it sort of fell to Craig Malcolm. And 69 minutes, Sean Winters sealed the win for East Kilbride. He ran into space to make it 3-1. A fantastic win for East Kilbride. Obviously, they've played each other a lot, and it's kind of always been sort of equal. It looks like Kilby were the better team in that one.
Yeah, we finally managed to get a bit of distance between the two of them. It took enough games, but to be honest, it was one of those games. I think that Spartans had a couple of unlucky breaks and defensive lapses that have cost them. Like Blair Carswell was one of the most solid goalkeepers in this league, and it was just unfortunate the way the free kick kind of was hitting the bar when he put his hands on it. He's travelling the wrong way and it goes back in front of the nets, and he's been moved away outside, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was just an unlucky break for him. The first goal that Kilby scored, the equaliser as well, was actually decent defending. They managed to get a block in on it, but it's the way it's kind of taken a wicked deflection, and it's kind of spun all the way into the corner out the reach of the keeper. So a couple of wee things, but then obviously Kilby, we know, are, with Spartans, one of the strongest sides in this league of ours, and ultimately, like, when you look at the balance of play, I think they did deserve to go through.
Yeah, obviously Spartans are kind of known for their really decent defence, but they've conceded 6 in the last 2. It's a bit worrying for them at the moment. Obviously they conceded 3 at the weekend against East Kilbride, but obviously a few weekends ago they got beat 3-1 by Gala as well. It's quite troubling for Spartans at the moment, would you say? Or
I don't think they'll have too many worries with it. I mean, obviously it's not ideal when they're a team that clearly prides themselves on having a really strong defence. Another thing you could look at is they've not actually won a game for a while now. It's away back since the 8th of September, since they beat Whitehill Welfare 1-0 in a really narrow game. But ultimately, I think they've got such a tight-knit squad and they're so well drilled that when they get back to league business, I'd expect them to hit the ground running again and not really have any issues from it, or any lingering issues. But no doubt, when they get back to it, Edusport will be looking to test their mettle, let's be honest.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. So obviously they've got Gala in the next round, and we'll go straight into the Gala game. They won 2-0 against East Stirlingshire. Rory Payton within 31 minutes, and pretty much Ricky Miller from a corner in the 83rd. Both teams looked to have their chances, but certainly Gala took theirs. But I don't think, obviously East Stirlingshire have sort of been on a better showing as of late, but it's a It'll be a tough one for them, but to be honest, from what I saw, mate, they both gave each other a game, and it just so happened that Gala, the luck was with Gala on the day, I think.
Yeah, and there's another two teams that are getting to know each other really well recently in terms of Gala and Shire. Rory Payton's made a brilliant impact since he's joined Gala on loan. He's just putting the ball in the net for fun at the minute. And it looked as if it was a reasonably even game. Shire had their chances. Andy Rogers almost scored an absolute peach of a lob at one point. It was kind of on the half volley. But fair play to the Fairy, because they've been in great form recently. And for them to go this far in the Scottish Cup, all they need is a decent draw. And it could be, well, we've seen the difference it's made to East Kilbride getting Celtic a couple of years back. Yep. If Gala Fairhaven can get a decent draw and get a wee bit of money in the bank, it could really sustain that club for years and years to come.
Definitely, mate. And obviously Rory Payton, current top scorer with 4 goals in the Scottish Cup. He scored a hat-trick on his debut against Lossiemouth, so absolutely fantastic impact he's had at Gala. And we do have reaction from first team coach Scott McKenzie as well.
I've got the assistant manager with me, Scott McKenzie. Scott, you must be absolutely thrilled, performance-wise and with the result.
Yeah, absolutely. The performance was outstanding. We had a game plan, and the boys carried it out to the letter, and I'm absolutely over the moon for them, because every one of them, including the guys that were on the bench that came on, and even the guys that were in the squad, every one of them outstanding.
East Stirlingshire, that was a good team you played today.
They're a good team, a very good team. There's a few big boys in there, so we had to be on it today, and to be fair to them, we were. We obviously played them a few weeks ago, and we were lucky enough to come away with a 3-0 win there. So we knew a bit about them, but we knew that it wasn't going to be as easy. It wasn't going to be a 3-0 scoreline today. But to be fair to the guys, they were really good, and I'm absolutely over the moon for them.
I know you want to go and celebrate the Scottish Cup, but we're looking ahead to next week. There was a VIP in the stand today, Barry Ferguson watching. Kelty next week. Yep. Can you continue this good run you're on just now and go up there maybe at a result?
Well, that's the aim. Yeah, we'll get back on Tuesday and Thursday, and we'll work on it. We'll do our homework on Kelty. But I went to the Ibrox and watched Barry for a number of years, so it'll be good to meet him. And yeah, looking forward to it. Just need to get back to the drawing board now, and we'll enjoy tonight, and then get back to the drawing board Tuesday, and then we'll see how it goes.
The league itself, obviously the league is always the most important. You're there or thereabouts, 2 or 3 wins off being up at that top 6, so Kelty will be a good place, the top team at the moment to go and get the 3 points.
Yeah, that's right, they're doing really well. So as I say, we'll do our homework, we'll get in the training park and work on some stuff, and then we'll see where it takes us. But it'll be a hard game, because they're obviously on a great run just now.
Yeah, perfect, that's great, Scott.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, but Dean Shanks has not been in the dugout the last 2 games, so I'd be asking him to take more time off if he wanted. Scott McKenzie looks like he's got a result. Beating champion Spartans and then winning the Scottish Cup against East Stirlingshire is fantastic for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I suspect he'd rather stay in the manager's good side.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I'm sure he'll be back for the next big game they have.
And that brings us to Broadwood, where it was Cumbernauld Colts against BSC Glasgow. Again, a couple of teams that have recently faced off in the league, and we were both at that game in Alloa, so the reverse kind of side of things, and it turned into a bit of a run out in the end for BSC. It was 4-1, 1-0 up at half time for BSC, with Declan Hughes sliding in to poke the ball away from Jordan Pettigrew, and he was booked for his protestations. I do think it was a wee bit harsh on him, to be honest, because it looks like he had both hands on the ball.
I would agree with that, mate.
It was poked out, and the referee's just not realised he had it in his possession. So as much as Deco will love having a goal, I suspect it probably should have been chalked off. But then the second half, Carlo Pignatiello, I hope I pronounced that right, Carlo, mate, made it 2-0, and at that point it looked as if it might be easy street, but Fraser team popped up to make it 2-1 with about 20 minutes left to go, and it was Ross Duncan and Tam Orr that managed to put it out of sight in the end. Again, it was a couple of defensive lapses and concentration that kind of helped BSC on the way as well. But before we get right into it, We've got some thoughts from the Colts joint manager, Craig McKinley, and also BSC's gaffer, Stevie Swift.
Right, first, what did you think about that performance? Obviously, it's disappointing on your end.
Yeah, absolutely disappointing. I thought first half we were a better side. Didn't capitalise on that play, and losing the goal just in the stroke of half time, then gave them a bit of a lift and give them the upper hand. So that was naive on our part. It was just a poor goal. Couldn't really see it myself, whether it was a foul on the keeper, whether it was in his hands or not. Couldn't really comment on that. Either way, it was sloppy. Losing the goal that stage, and then we lost a bad goals. Second half we were poor, chasing the game a little bit. And we just, to be quite honest, we just weren't good enough in the second half.
Do you think a lot of the referees' decisions were kind of went against you?
I thought the ref was just poor in general. I thought there was a couple of calls, but I thought there was some strange decisions on both sides. But I certainly couldn't blame the referee for the defeat. That squarely at our feet.
Right, so what did you think about that performance there?
It was good. I thought the first 10-15 minutes we didn't get started, which was disappointing. I thought the tempo and the intensity we trained at all week, we built them up to kind of start well, and it didn't materialise, so that was disappointing. However, credit to the lads, they showed character to finish the half well, and then just getting that bit of luck, which we've not had this season. Declan Hughes scoring in the last kick of the ball the first half, seeing us come in at 1-0 and probably gave the boys that wee bit of confidence. So that was really good. So overall, it was a good day, you know.
It was an even better performance considering the injuries we have had, and obviously especially with the goalkeeper, and Stephen Barr was excellent today.
Stephen Barr had an unbelievable save at 1-0, which turned out to be very important. But I can't fault these guys for the injuries and the adversity we've faced this season. I really think they've came together, and what's getting us through a lot is the spirit in the team. Even at training, we're working them hard, not a peep, everybody coming in willing to work, and that's credit to them. I just say to them there, that's the first time this club's been in the third round of the Scottish Cup, and it's credit to them because they've worked so hard for me. I can't fault any of them. Young boys that have come in, we've had a couple of loan signings who's maybe 18 and 19 have come in and looked the part, and it's been great. So we can only go onwards and upwards and really hope for the boys will get the confidence out of this.
And you must be thrilled with Cammy Ballantyne because he was.
Yeah, he was everywhere the day, and we knew this. See on this big pitch, we knew we needed legs in there. Ryan McStay is a tremendous player, but we just felt as if it wasn't the game for Ryan the day, and it was proved right with Cammy coming in. He covered every blade of grass, and it was a good competition between him and Arnie Bembo, who also gets a boot. So that's a good bit of experience for Cammy up against somebody who's that strong and that mobile. So no, overall, I'm absolutely delighted with the players, and we said we want to look forward to the draw. 5:45 tonight, and that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Anybody you're hoping for the third round?
Do you know what? You can look at it both ways. For the club, we can maybe look for a high championship club, or you might look at a club that we maybe fancy. So overall, we're just delighted to get through, and we'll just enjoy the draw and see what happens.
Yeah, so we were talking about obviously Rory Payton's impact. Cameron Ballantyne, who's on loan to BSC, he's came straight into the team and got man of the match. He looks like a fantastic, loan signing for BSC, and I've got to really sort of highlight this for BSC. We've been talking about it the last few weeks about they've lost a lot of key players. Adam Strachan with his horrific injury, obviously against Whitehill, and Ross McMillan, their captain, out as well. Tamor just back as well. So they're really sort of pulling through at the moment from their injury worries and everything, and they're really looking like a side that are getting back to where they need to be in terms of maybe not just the league, but certainly just in all fronts really. And Stephen Swift's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of these things that obviously you can't control injuries, and when you lose the likes Martin Green's had some time out, Tamor's had time out, Stevie Murray and Ross McMillan, Adam Strachan. I mean, that's half your first team already when we're just rattling off names there. So it's been a tough old bit of sledding, because I don't think Swifties actually had a chance to play his top 11 yet in the league, or in the cups for that matter. So I'd expect BSC to now kick on and kind of push again for the top four, given that that's technically the Irn-Bru Cup qualification at this point. But it gives you another avenue though, because even though we've dropped points in the league and it hasn't been helped with the injury situation, you've now got a chance to go. You've already gone further than the club's ever gone before in the Cup, and you've got a great chance to go and prove yourself against a League One side in Forfar, to basically give you an idea of where you are and where you want to get to ultimately. So I think that'll be a brilliant learning experience for the team and the management side as well.
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. And obviously we'll continue with our last Lowland League team to get through. University of Stirling beating Devon Vale 2-1. Uni opened the scoring from a penalty due to a handball where Lewis Bonner smashed it home. Devon Vale got back into the game, but a quick break from Stirling basically got a corner. Eventually ball floated into Dominic Slattery, who bagged the winner. They're home to Elgin City in the next round, where I've got reaction from the goal scorer Dominic Slattery and the manager Chris Geddes.
So we're joined by the scorer of the winning goal, Dominic Slattery. Dominic, it must be a happy dressing room back there.
Ecstatic, aye. Boys are absolutely buzzing. So delighted to get through, first time in the club's history. We're just really looking forward to the draw now later on tonight.
It was a tough game, wasn't it? Was it tougher than you were expecting?
No, we didn't underestimate Devon Vale. We knew it was going to be physical. We've played up at Wick last year. We know what type of game we were going to be in for. So I mean, we kind of anticipated how it was going to go, and we worked on it during the week. But yeah, the game played the way we thought it was going to be and how the gaffer told it was going to play. So I wouldn't say we underestimated them, but yeah, it was a really tough game, aye.
And you got the bit of luck there, I suppose you could say, with the penalty. Got in front, but then they were back in the game, and it looked at one point like they could sneak something. Yeah, a
really sloppy goal to give away from us. The penalty, don't know, I'd need to see it again, but Bonus took his chance well. As I say, we gave away a sloppy goal, but to get the one straight after, I think was quite crucial, because they were piling more and more bodies forward. So just to suffocate them a wee bit was really crucial for us in the game.
And you just talk us through your goal, because it was a lovely finish.
It was, yeah. Rory's picked up. Rory's deliveries have been spot on recently. I've gotten the end of a few. Disappointed not to have scored a wee bit more. And I've just anticipated one in the back. I like that run, that late run, and it's come in, and I've caught it flush in the volley. Just kept it on target, because I had one in the first half and I didn't take my chance. So I've just thought, get it on target and see what happens, deflections or anything. So delighted to see it go in the back of the net.
As you say, you've written a page in the history books. Well done.
Thank you very much. Cheers, David.
Chris, Stirling University are in the third round of the Scottish Cup for the first time. How does it feel to make history?
Over the moon with these boys. Nobody really realises the efforts they put in, travelling to Birmingham on Tuesday, playing a game, 90 minutes on Wednesday, and then training Thursday, and then coming all the way up on another 3.5 hour bus journey, and then deserving of the win. It's amazing. The boys are in there buzzing. It's a great feeling.
Talk us through the goals. First of all, we had a penalty.
Yeah, it was pretty unlucky on their boy, to be fair. He put his hand up as we tried to spin one around the corner. It was a pen, and then Lewis obviously put it away. Devon Vale battled really well, to be fair. They're very direct in what they do. Basically, they had the ball down the left, and it's just a deep cross in the box, and we've got boys in there admitting that it was a mistake from them, because nobody picked up the big guy, and he volleyed home from like 3 yards. So, and it was only 5 minutes after he scored, so that was disappointing. But then, to our credit, we've went up the park 5-6 minutes later, and corner whipped in, cleared back out, and Rory's whipped one at the back post, and Dom's coming in, sliding in, and he's put it back across goal, and it's a great finish for 2-1. And then, to be honest, we held out a bit at the end, but you're going to have to do that up here with tired legs, 2 games in 5 days. So it's a great feeling.
I can hear the singing in the background. Who will you be hoping for in the draw for the third round, or do you not mind?
No, it's first time we've been here. If we're not going to get a game which is 50-50 like this one, let's give the boys a day out against a big team who's in like one of the League One teams or something. But listen, it's uncharted territory for us. So we're not really fussed. We're just so happy to get into the third round of the Scottish Cup for the university, because we're representing the university in the whole.
I'll let you get back to the celebrations. Well done, Chris.
Thanks, David.
University of Stirling have got the bragging rights again for the league, and to be fair, it seemed a right old battle. It was a good match-up between two clubs that are reasonably similar levels, you'd say. And if anyone's not seen the highlights and have not seen where Devon Vale play, it's probably the most picturesque highlights package you're going to see anyway. It's some location they've got for their stadium right on the coast there. But no, a fantastic result for the Uni, especially when they travelled up all day on the bus. No doubt the legs would have been a bit weary. And, well, we saw them enjoying themselves on the way back down on the bus, didn't we, when they were finding out they were getting drawn to Elgin. But again, we've sung his praises plenty of times. Chris Geddes has done a cracking job with him. And he was obviously playing as well in the game. He seemed to have a couple of nice moments. But the second goal was a bit of a cracker, I think, as well. Dom Slattery at the back post, putting it right across the keeper. And it was a goal worthy of winning any cup tie.
Definitely, mate. And yeah, they seem to enjoy getting through to the next round. I noticed a lot of celebrations, and quite rightly so. It's a fantastic result for them. Really happy they got through. So we'll get into the Edinburgh derby, mate. A very close game between Edinburgh City, who are doing fantastically well in League 2, versus Civil Service Strollers. And they were only beaten by a Robbie McIntyre free kick. I did hear it was contentious. From the highlights, it did look like a free kick for me, from what I saw. But Civil Service Strollers, Gary Jordan returning to Edinburgh City, his team's done him proud there. They really, really gave Edinburgh City a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and don't forget, this is the same Edinburgh City that's flying high at the top of League 2 just now. So that was a really, really tough draw for them, albeit when there's a bit of a local derby going on, you've got the Gary Jordan factor. There was a few other storylines to it, but the Strollers can certainly go away heads held high after the performance they put in, and ultimately it was just a moment of quality from a free kick that's robbed them of a replay. So as kind of possibly disappointed as Gary will be, I'm sure he'll be happy now to kind of concentrate in the league and basically try and kind of recapture some of the form that they've potentially lost in the last few weeks or so. Like in terms of results anyway, their performance levels still seem to have been alright, but they've got one less distraction now when it comes to the kind of week to week of the Lowland League.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, they had a few tough results recently. Obviously, they were beaten, well beaten by Kelty, and obviously they were very, very unlucky against Shire. And obviously today, they just don't seem like they're having the rub of the green at the moment. But they are still, in my opinion, a quality side, and I do believe, as you say, now that they're out the cup, they can focus more on the league, and I'm pretty certain that we'll see them going back up towards the table as well. So. Interesting one there. Very unlucky for the Strollers in that game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the next game, mate, obviously the big news is the fact that Barry Ferguson, the former Rangers and Scotland international, is the new manager of Kelty Hearts. What are your thoughts initially on the appointment?
It's a really interesting one because, well, firstly it goes to show the growth that Kelty have had as a club and the fact that they can attract somebody of Barry's reputation. And I think it says a lot about Barry himself as well. The fact that he's clearly had a few offers, but he's not scared to come down a level. Like, he was at Clyde, had a decent run, and then things started going a bit poor. A bit poorly, we'll say. And he chose to step down from it. But he's it says a lot about the man. He's gone away, he's kind of had a think about things, he's reassessed the way he's going to do it, and he's quite happy to step in at Lowlands League level and rebuild again. And it could end up being a really good match between the two, so it remains to be seen how things will go. But we've certainly seen a bit of excitement from quite a few of the Kelty players. Let's just say one or two of them are very, very happy to have him on board.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the league. Obviously, a lot of national papers obviously sort of covered the fact that Barry Ferguson was going to be the new Kelty manager. But playing the devil's advocate a wee bit, obviously there's some people that would probably think it's maybe not the best appointment. They went with the name rather than someone that could possibly do a job for them, given that Barry never had the greatest record at Clyde. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I mean, for me, I think it's a bit unfair. I think you obviously said it's way too early to tell. I think people need to give him a chance, certainly. I mean, he's got all the tools there at Kelty to make it work, and you can't judge someone coming into a job without them actually having the time and opportunity to do something, is basically what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yeah, I think ultimately because of the person he is and the reputation he's got, he's going to get judged very, very quickly. He's not really going to have time to kind of settle in, figure out what he wants to do with his squad and his formation and so on. He'll be expected to hit the ground running. But the flip side of that is he's a guy who his reputation precedes him, especially at this level.
Yeah.
So you know that the players will be kind of inspired and ready to get working for him. And if he gets Kelty kind of motoring on the same way they've been going up to this point, it could really build some momentum there behind the club, not just on kind of the result side of things in the table, but as a proper community club as well. And the more publicity they can get in that area and people kind of becoming part of it, the better as well. And that's something that we've praised them about, well, several times in the chats we've had. They're a really, really well run club, and you know that they've put plenty of thought into this. They've not just gone, oh, Barry's in for the job, let's give him it. They've clearly earmarked him for a reason, and it just remains to be seen if it's going to work out.
I completely agree. It deserves time to see how it goes, basically. So getting into the game against Peterhead won 3-2. Peterhead led quite early on. Kieran Chalmers' header equalised for Kelty Hearts. Rory McAllister celebrated, making it 2-1 in the 74th minute. It was a pretty close game up until that point. I don't know if you saw the highlights, mate, but there was something funny happened when Rory McAllister scored for Peterhead. It looked like Willis Hare, who was warming up, one of the subs for Kelty. He may have tried to trip him up as he ran past celebrating. I don't know if you
possibly comment.
It looked that way, because certainly Rory sort of turned round and sort of may have had a word or two with him. But it was 2 goals at the death that settled the tie. It was Peterhead obviously went 3-1 up, and Matty Gay header right at the death. But it certainly seemed that Kelty gave Peterhead a game. From the stats, Peterhead looked like they had more chances than Kelty, certainly, but they've done themselves, they've done themselves proud.
They've shown they can compete at that level. And the thing is, when you see the highlights, 2 of the 3 goals you would put down to defensive lapses or defensive kind of confusion, which, bear in mind, they're still playing Errol Douglas at centre-half, who has been a striker up to this season, and he's now stepped up and played against a really decent striker in Rory McAllister, who probably, you'd say, is championship level, I'd argue. The reason he's Peterhead is obviously his work commitments and so on, but it says a lot for the club that they've gone there and they've put a really good fight up, and they've given Peterhead a wee worry or two at the very end with that second goal. But no, fair play to them.
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. Going into the Berwick Rangers Gretna game, I did tout this one as a potential one to watch because I did feel that Gretna would get a result. Unfortunately, it didn't really happen that way, much to my dismay. Everyone can be wrong sometimes, but I tell you what, even in this game, Gretna looked like they sort of gave Berwick a game as well. It was only 1-0 to Berwick at half time, and it was 2 early goals in the second half, with Gretna getting the consolation in the 87th minute for Jamie Hope. Certainly it's tough for Gretna, but certainly again, I think it was more sort of defensive lapse.
We've spoken a few times now about defensive lapses in these games. The other thing to remember is they're taking a step up if they're playing clubs in a higher level. Even if it is a jump to League 2, there's still a jump there. So you're going to see a couple of defensive mistakes here and there, just purely with, it could be nerves, or it could be playing against guys of a higher calibre than they're used to. It's all learning experiences, and none of these clubs playing against teams of a kind of higher point have been disgraced at all. And I think it says a lot about the standard, not just in the top half of the league, but overall. Like Gretna's case in point, there's a team that where you'd probably expect to be mid-table, and they've had a decent wee run recently, and they've gone and give Berwick a really decent game there as well.
talking about giving teams a game, obviously Edinburgh were beaten 2-1 by Fraserburgh.
Fraserburgh went away with the 2-1 win. Goalless at half time. Both Fraserburgh goals came in the second half, and Edinburgh finished their game with 10 men, but they did get a last minute worrier, shall we call it, just to give Fraserburgh a wee concern or two, but they held on. And to be fair, they are one of the stronger sides in the Highland League, so they'll be absolutely delighted with the fact that they've managed to go back up the road. And again, that's a fair journey they've gone on with the result and getting through.
From the highlights, it seemed more a bit of a feisty game, actually, I would say. I never actually caught who was the second bookable offence for Edu, so they're off the hook. I didn't catch who was sent off for them, but it was towards the end of the game anyway. I don't think it made much difference. Edinburgh, they're on a bit of a slip at the moment, I think. They're not getting... The results aren't going their way, but certainly they did give Fraserburgh a game, and they were... it was a tough fixture, but as I said, it did seem quite feisty. You kind of got that sense. I don't if you probably watched the highlights, but I don't know. It seemed like there was something to that game a bit more than the others, I think.
Yeah, we'll put it this way: Fraserburgh obviously had an idea that they were kind of a more physically capable team, and they were going to take advantage of that. But this isn't the same Edinburgh team, like we've talked about a few times now. It's not just a group of students that have came in anymore. They've got some real proven quality talent in there to supplement the talented young guys, and they pretty much stood up to it. Ultimately, obviously the red card kind of soured it slightly for them, but yep. They've gone up against one of the better teams in the Highland League. They've given them a right good game, and they'll probably feel a little bit aggrieved that they've not managed to at least get a replay out of it.
And to our last game, it was Elgin City against Whitehill Welfare. Elgin City won 2-0. They were up quite early into the game, 13 minutes, and they scored their second just before half-time. An absolute killer for Whitehill, I would say. It really killed off the game for them. Elgin seemed like they probably had the better of the chances. But Whitehill, for me, I think they've improved from what I saw. They seemed like they weren't the team that weren't creating a lot of chances. A few weeks ago, we talked about them having an issue with creating chances. They seemed like they were more up for it. I think it's just unfortunate they conceded two goals in the first half, which basically killed off the game. Kevin Keane was sent off for a last man tackle, which was deemed to be an obvious goal scoring opportunity outside the box. I'm not sure it was. I don't know if it was a straight red. It seemed a wee bit far out for me to be a red card. Certainly at this point in time, Elgin were already 2-0 up, but ideally if they wanted to get back in the game, they wouldn't have wanted a man sent off. I think he's been very unfortunate there. I think other people might have called that, albeit he's last man, he was the Elgin player was like nowhere near the goal. It was outside the box sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think I'm kind of on your side here as well, that I'd see it as a yellow. But by the same token, you can understand why the referee sent him off.
Yeah,
it's one of these decisions that's open to different interpretations, I think, is the easiest way to sum it up. But when you look at it, just as an overall 90 minutes, and given that they went down to 10 men, for the team that's sitting bottom of the league to go up to Elgin in that journey, and a team that's playing decent this season in Elgin City, not many teams go up there and get points in their own league, never mind the bottom of the Lowland League going up. I think they've given a really good account of themselves, Welfare. And like you say, you could tell there was a wee bit more of a bounce there. It's probably been a bit of relief to get a chance to go and test themselves in the Cup from the way that the league campaign's been recently. And you never know. The fact that they've actually done so well up there, even in defeat, might spur them on to kind of come back to league business and get a point or two on the board again.
Yeah, I think all teams, even the ones that got put out at this stage, can really be proud of what they've done in the Scottish Cup this season so far, because apart from Edinburgh, who are beaten by Fraserburgh, who are probably almost equal in terms of like the Highland Lowland, all the other teams were put out by higher opposition, if not other Lowland League teams. So yeah, I think they can really do themselves proud. They can really be proud of their cup run this season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, we started off this conversation talking about how is the Lowland League progressing, are the teams progressing? And I think in the grand scheme of things, you would say that overall the quality is improving year on year. And it's not just kind of on the pitch. Obviously, there's more eyes now getting off the pitch as well. The likes of Barry coming into the league will influence that, and more eyes will be on it as well. But I think overall, as an offering, it's gone on leaps and bounds the last couple of years.
Agreed, mate. Absolutely agreed.
Looking ahead to the fixtures for this weekend, we're back to league duty again. So there's no kind of divvying up between League and South Challenge Cup and Scottish Cup. Nice and simple, right all the way through. So Friday night we get kicked off, and it's BSC hosting Vale of Leithen at the Inverdrill Stadium in Alloa. Saturday we've got Civil Service Strollers playing host to East Kilbride in what should be a really decent clash there. Whitehill Welfare hosting University of Stirling. East Stirlingshire play host to Gretna at the Falkirk Stadium. Edinburgh University against Cumbernauld Colts. Kelty Hearts against Gallifreydine Rovers, and Spartans against Edusport. So it's a really interesting slate of fixtures once again that's been thrown up there. And we should probably also say our media friends at Rocksport have chosen their game of the week to be Kelty at home to Gala, which obviously has obvious reasons for them to be interested in it as well as the rest of the media. But for yourself, mate, what kind of game jumps out you there?
Well, funny enough, you mentioned that I'm going to the Kelty Hearts Gala game. I had already spoken to Debbie down at Gala. Fantastic person. She does a lot of the galas, Twitter and stuff like that. I was speaking to her about the team to do, obviously, I mentioned earlier, I was working for Transfermarkt and stuff like that. So she was helping me out with a couple of things. And that was way before all this stuff happened, so it was already in the calendar. Now it's going to be a massive game for Kelty Hearts. I expect a massive crowd. Obviously, a lot of the media's going to take an interest, not just the likes of Rocksport, but certainly there'll be other forms of media there, not just myself as well. But that's a big game. The reason I actually wanted to go to that, first of all, in fairness, it's not just the interest, obviously. I think everyone knows I'm from Fife, Kelty, obviously the Fife team in the Lowland League, but certainly Gala. I think I mentioned to you I've got a wee bit of a soft spot for Gala, certainly. I think they're a well-run club. They seem to, similar to Kelty, be a sort of community club, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them for the first time this season. And I know we've talked about it, but obviously we're hoping to get to Netherdale at some point, probably towards the end of the season, but I'm really looking forward to that game. And I know Gala will probably be up for being the sort of party poopers, if you will. So I think it will be a good game. Other than that, mate, it's tough. It really is. BSC, I think, will probably continue on their sort of their form that they're on at the moment. Civil Strollers versus East Kilbride, it's difficult. Because Civil Strollers, I think they've not had the rub of the green, as I mentioned earlier, and East Kilbride are obviously wanting to get back. I don't know, Spartans, Edusport not on the best of form at the moment. I would probably expect Spartans to get back to winning ways, especially at Ainsley Park. Other than that, I've probably nicked all the games, mate.
I think the game that jumps out to me, kind of out of all of them there, the ones we've not really kind of focused on, would be Stirlingshire against Gretna. Because there's two teams that, and kind of league form's been up and down overall, but it's two teams that you'd expect to kind of want to get moving again. But let's be honest, Gretna obviously have had better form of late, and they'll fancy their chances going to face Shire. And at the same time, you're looking at Shire, they basically want to get up from 11th in the table as they sit just now. So they're sitting level on points, same amount of games played. That could be a really interesting one. With teams' recent form, they've been going in the opposite direction, but we'll see who comes out on top in that one.
So that's pretty much the episode again, mate. Do you want to do plugs? I'll let you go first, as always.
As always. So you'll find me on Twitter at Mozza Plays, and you'll find links to all sorts and everything through there, but that's the best place to find me. And we'll also say the official league account is at official SLFL for all your up-to-date happenings around the place as well. So how about yourself?
Rampant FM on Twitter, or my name would be Rampant FM /Chris, because I think people think I'm like more than one person sometimes. I noticed. So back to league business next weekend. We'll be back with another episode. We want to thank everyone that listens, watches, all the people that contribute to the show, all the clubs, the fans, and we obviously want to thank George Fraser and Michael Park for their support. We will see you next time.